All right, welcome back. We're going to continue on with Dinosaurs and Man. This is going to be part 17. In this video here, we are going to read chapter 41. I'm just going to read right through it, and I'm just going to stop along the way and just make give some insight onto some words. And then the next time, in the next video, we're going to look at some other things. And so hopefully together we can learn some things about Leviathan. What exactly was it? And you got to remember now, in the book of Job, in this part here in chapter 40 and 41, God is reminding Job who God is, how great he is, how we're to be in awe of him, and really just how powerful is he. And so what he's doing is he's brought two animals to Job to show these animals to him, the magnificence of them, how fearful they are, big, gigantic, how awesome these creatures are, and how God created these animals, and then God is able to control these animals. And so he puts there's a contrast between God reminding Job how puny man is compared to these animals, and how God is able to control his creation, and that he was the one that created these things. And so that's what God's doing. God's using these animals to remind Job exactly who God is. And so, but at any rate, if you'll notice on the screen here, this is Leviathan. I've just taken the word and went into some dictionaries and some concordances to kind of give a little bit more insight on the word Leviathan. And so here in Thayer's, it's defined as, if you notice that I've got some words and some numbers that are highlighted. I want you to remember that. If you notice there in Thayer's, then the concordance 3882, and then if you'll notice down below Leviathan, it says from 3867. Just remember that. But they go on and they define it as a sea monster, a dragon, a large aquatic animal, perhaps the extinct dinosaur, a plesiosaurus. And then they said the exact meaning is unknown. And then in Strong's Concordance, just below that, they define it as also 3882 and 3867. Now, what that is, guys, is in a concordance, you've got it kind of broken up from the Hebrew and the Greek. And so what this is that Job is in the Old Testament, so that's going to be in your Hebrew, in the Hebrew language. So what they does is there's a side that's Hebrew, and you can take those numbers and look up in the Hebrew, and all of the words in the Bible are given a certain number as far as a definition. And so that 3882 would bring you to the Hebrew word for Leviathan. And so basically what Strong's Concordance has done is it means a wreathed animal. Now we're going to look at wreathed here in just a minute, but a wreathed animal, a serpent. Now, what they said, and they got this in parentheses, is especially the crocodile or some other large sea monster. So now what that word wreathed is, wreathed means twisted and intertwined or intertwining. So somehow or another, I guess you would think of this animal almost like if you would think like a big serpent, or sometimes you see the Asian or Chinese sea serpents look like it's all kind of winding and twisting on itself. Maybe this animal had some type of appearance like that. And so, but when you think of a wreath, you think of a wreath around, like a Christmas wreath. The vines, the sticks and twigs are all turned and twisted. That's what you think, wreath. It's basically the same kind of flavor there. Now, in Easton's dictionary, they define Leviathan. Now, in the dictionary, it's number 2276, the word Leviathan. That's just the number given in the dictionary for Leviathan. As twisted, as twisted or coiled. It defines as a whale, crocodile, the monsters of the deep. And so, again, we're going to look at whale and crocodile, of them defining Leviathan as possibly being a whale or a crocodile. And so, now, Leviathan is used 4 times in the Bible. It's used 4 times in the Bible. In Job 41:1, canst thou draw out Leviathan with an hook, or his tongue with a cord which thou lettest down? Now, we're going to go back through this again, but I'm just reading the verses where Leviathan is mentioned in the Bible. Psalm 74:14. Psalm 74:14. Thou breakest the heads of Leviathan in pieces, and gavest him to be meat to the people inhabiting the wilderness. Psalm 104:25 through 26. So is this great and wide sea, wherein are things creeping innumerable, both small and great beast. There go the ships. There is that Leviathan, whom thou hast made to play therein. And so what they're saying is that this Leviathan plays around in the water. It has its home in the waters and stuff, in the seas. And so showing that it's an actual animal, an actual creature. Isaiah 27:1, and we went through this on the last video. In that day the Lord with his sore and great and strong sword shall punish Leviathan, that piercing serpent, even Leviathan, that crooked serpent, and he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea. And so that is the 4 times Leviathan is used in the Bible. And that what I'm talking about, I use the King James Bible. And so that's, and all the scriptures that you see me use are from the King James Version. Now, let's go ahead and let's start reading through Job 41. Job 41, I'm going to go all the way through the entire chapter. And so there's 34 verses. Now, it starts off in chapter 41, verse 1. It says, canst thou draw out Leviathan with a hook, or his tongue with a cord, which thou lettest down? Now remember, God has brought Job to this animal, and he is showing this awesome creature. And so he's asking him some questions. What could he do, or man do, to this animal? Now, it goes on to say in verse 2, canst thou put an hook into his nose, or bore his jaw through with a horn? Will he make many supplications? Now, that word supplication means to show pity or mercy. Will he, Leviathan, make many supplications unto thee? Will he speak soft words unto thee? Will he make a covenant with thee? Wilt thou take him for a servant forever? Wilt thou play with him as with a bird? Or wilt thou bind him for many maidens? Pretty much saying, are you going to be able to tame this animal? All right, it goes on. Shall the companions make a banquet out of him? Shall they part him among the merchants? Basically, cut him up and sell him as meat. Canst thou fill his skin with barbed irons, or his head with fish spears? Lay thine hand upon him, remember the battle, do no more. Basically, it says, once you touch him, that's going to be the last thing you're going to do. Behold, the hope of him is in vain. Shall not one be cast down even at the sight of him? So they're pretty much saying that you just about pass out by just the sight of this animal. None is so fierce that dare stir him up. Who then is able to stand before me? And so basically God is saying, who is able to stand before this animal and stir him up? Who dare stirs him up? Well, who is able to stand before God? Now going on, it says, who hath prevented me that I should repay him? Whatsoever is under the whole heaven is mine. So God is saying, everything that is under the heaven, God owns it. I will not conceal his parts, nor his power, nor his comely proportion. Who can discover the face of his garment? Who can come to him with his double bridle? Who can open the doors of his face? His teeth are terrible round about. His scales are his pride, shut up together with a closed seal. One is so near to another that no air can come between them. They are joined one to another. He's talking about the scales of this beast. They stick together that they cannot be sundered. By his neesings, we're going to come to that. Now listen to this, guys. By his neesings a light doth shine, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the morning. Out of his mouth go burning lamps, and sparks of fire leap out. Out of his nostrils goeth smoke, as out of a seething pot or cauldron. Now that word neesings, it is only used one time in Scripture, and this right here is where it's used. It basically means to sneeze. To sneeze is basically what that means, or air blown out of the nostrils. And so basically he's saying that when he blows out of his nostrils, a light does shine, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the morning. And then it goes out of his mouth, goes burning lamps, and sparks of fire leap out. What in the world is he talking about here? It sounds like a dragon. It sounds like what we would call a fire-breathing dragon. Now, I'm not going to go in detail on this. I just want to just read over this, but I get so excited reading this, I just can't help it. But at any rate, his breath kindleth coals. A flame goeth out of his mouth. In his neck remaineth strength, and sorrow is turned into joy before him. So, what he's saying is that he's got a real strong neck. The flakes of his flesh are joined together. They are firm in themselves. They cannot be moved. So this is an actual strong, real awesome creature. His heart is as firm as stone, yea, as hard as a piece of nether millstone. When he raiseth up himself, the mighty are afraid. By reason of breakings, they purify themselves. So what they're saying here, this word breakings means to burst, destruction. And so when this animal raises up himself, even the people that would consider themselves mighty cower down. They're frightened of this animal. Okay, it says, the sword of him that layeth at him cannot hold. The spear, the dart, nor the habergeon. Now what that is a breastplate. So people that would try to bring any type of weapon before them, before this animal, this Leviathan, it does no good. He esteemeth iron as straw, and brass as rotten wood. The arrow cannot make him flee. Sling stones are turned with him into stubble. Darts are counted as stubble. He laugheth at the shaking of a spear. Sharp stones are under him. He spreadeth sharp-pointed things under the mire. So basically what they're saying here is that there's not any type of weapon that can be formed against him that makes this animal afraid. Now lastly, it says here, he maketh the deep to boil like a pot. He maketh the sea like a pot of ointment. He maketh a path to shine after him. One would think the deep to be hoary. Upon earth there is not his like. Who is made without fear? He beholdeth all high things. He is the king over all the children of pride. And so listen to that, guys, what it's saying there. Upon earth, there is no one that is like this animal. This animal is definitely something of his own self. And so, and then again, that last verse there, you can see Satan also being intimated into this. Because you notice, he is the king over all the children of pride. And so that right there is a very, very good definition of Satan, the devil. And so, but guys, we're going to stop right there. I just wanted to read through that. And then next time we see each other again, we're going to go through and I'm just going to kind of pick at some of these things. And we're going to kind of discuss some things, relate some things that other people have brought up, other researchers of the creationists have brought up, and we're going to look at some other animals. When we look at stuff like this, again, you got to look at it in a biblical worldview, not a secular worldview. You got to look at it with a biblical worldview. Who's saying this stuff? It's God. What is God capable of doing? Are there other things in the Bible that we could look at that when we see God do them with animals, we see a miracle? We see that's just amazing. That's impossible. And so, is it really that impossible to believe that an actual animal that we call a fire-breathing dragon actually did exist, and could actually blow fire out of the mouth? Is that possible for the animal kingdom to do such things? And so we're going to look at those things in the next videos to come and kind of see what we can see in this. What kind of animal was it? And so, but at any rate, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and be looking forward to the next one. You guys take care. Bye-bye.